It's back on the channel. The most hyped up car of 2021 is back on PowerDrift. Of course, it is the Mahindra XUV700. Now, I promised you when I drove it for the first time a couple of months ago that I would bring you a more detailed on-road review of the car. And this is it. I've finally got my hands on a petrol automatic XUV700, the one that I really wanted to drive a lot more of, because that's of course what people are buying. And I'm going to drive it all day, all night, couple of days in fact, and I'm going to tell you what this is all about, because although last time we did drive it for a bit at the Mahindra test track, we didn't really get to enjoy it on the road independently as much as I'd like to. This time, it's all free for me to enjoy and tell you what it is all about. But this isn't the only Mahindra XUV700 video coming in the next few days. More on that at the absolute end of the video. Okay, first things first, let's talk about design, because the number of people that have turned and looked at it, asked us what it is about, and generally wanted to take pics with it is staggering. In the recent past, there is only one car that I can think of that has had this sort of attention, and no surprising for guessing what that is, it was the Thar. So it's a double home run from Mahindra. Oh, and I also think that is because the design is relatable to the last one. Here, for example, is a pic of two of them next to each other, and just see how much you can see an evolution between the old one 10 years ago and this one now. Oh, and this color. Ooh. Okay, now, before I actually get to driving the car, oh look, the seats are actually moving me into my driving position. That's so nice. It's lovely to have that. Nonetheless, okay, before I get to actually driving the car or using it or operating it in any manner, there's one thing I need to do, which I do to every single brand new car that I get. And this had less than 100 kilometers when it came to me. So it is a brand spanking new car. The one thing that I love doing is removing all these plastics. And finally, the Fiesta Resistance ASMR. Of course, this is when I talk about how much more mature Mahindra design has become on the inside too. The XUV is the perfect example of an automaker holding back its designers from going absolutely batshit crazy. And now with Pratap Bose on board, I think this will only get better and better. Now, maturity of design is not just what the XUV brings to the table, it's just general maturity in a whole bunch of places. So for example, all the stuff that you actually touch and feel, like the leather on the steering wheel or the dashboard or even this hard plastic on top, is a lot more mature. It feels a lot more grown up. It feels a lot more premium. And premiumness is something that they really need, because the XUV700 isn't a cheap SUV anymore. It's actually, well, the spec that this is in is actually quite a pricey spec for the Indian public. But that said, it's not just that. Even the design language, even the way the screens are laid out, this dual screen setup, it's something that we've of course seen in Mercedes-Benz in the past. And this sort of, how would you call it? Inspired by the Germans design language is something that seems to have really worked for Mahindra. They've gone away from that overdoing things, that excessive design that really didn't age well at all. I mean, look at the last generation XUV, it's just 10 years old, but look at the interior design and the exterior design. There's just too much happening, right? This is simple. This is almost Scandinavian, almost European in its design approach. Now, the screen itself, this particular screen, this particular car, this will coming soon with, that's for Apple CarPlay. They haven't received the certification for Apple CarPlay yet, but that will come in soon. Again, there are a lot of updates which will come and improve the system over the years. Sometimes it might feel a little glitchy to begin with. There will be updates. It will become much nicer. And again, in the instrument cluster, it's all just so clean. It's all just so simple. They've done a really good thing. They've just not gone overboard with it. They've just done whatever's necessary to attract that Indian customer, and they have attracted the Indian customer, haven't they? I mean, just look at the booking amounts. Our SUV's engine undergo a lot of stress both in city driving and on tough terrains, particularly during warm-up and in stop-start traffic, and of course while carrying heavy loads. Ordinary car oils may not be enough for your SUV, and that is why we recommend fully synthetic Castrol magnetic SUV for superior protection. Those door handles, they are never ever getting old. Now I know I like small little trivial things and they don't really matter too much to people, but those are they're just cool. Okay, let's deal with it and let's get back to the more important things, because at the rear seat space and comfort is very important for customers for the XUV700, because look, let's face it, as well as this drives, and we will talk about that in just a bit, as well as this drives, rear seat comfort is what matters, because a lot of people are just going to be chauffeur driven with the drivers in the front seats and them in the back. Now, if you're in this position, which I will now call the uncle position or the politician position, because it's upright and you can, well, sit all the way upright, as I mentioned, and wave out to your loyal subjects. And if you are more cool and chilled out, not that politicians can't be cool and chilled out, but if you are more cool and chilled out like me, then you would go all the way into the lounge position. And you know what? I am actually glad that Rohan isn't on this shoot with me, because in about 5 minutes from now, I would be fast asleep in this chair, lounging comfortably, and that picture would go on Instagram with that hashtag that he loves using so much. Not that I mind, but me sitting, or rather sleeping in a car with my mouth open on Instagram does look rather funny. I don't really want to subject all of you to that image. The one thing though that is missing, and the one thing that I would have added in, are AC blower controls. I mean, why skip that out? It's very easy to add that somewhere here, or maybe on the side. That is a missing little bit. That should have been added in. Right, now before we get to driving, there is something that I want to talk about, because I have seen some comments on Instagram and on the internet, and some of those comments have been bollocks, right? Excuse the use of that word, but it is necessary, because some of you guys think that because this tailgate, this is made of plastic, it is unsafe. Let me tell you this only once, and only once. What this is made of makes no difference to how safe the XUV700 is. Now, obviously some of you guys were silenced when the XUV got a 5-star NCAP rating. But again, I'm really just gonna say this once in this video and then never again. What material is used on the outside, plastic or even metal for that matter, really makes no difference to how safe a car is. It's the platform that matters, and we all know that this is a very, very safe platform. Right, so no more absolute nonsense about this being made out of plastic, okay? Come on guys, promise me. No more of that, okay? None. And on that note, even with the 7 seats up, decent amount of space in the back for a couple of bags, isn't it? Right, now that that's done with, all the sensible bits and my rant, time to drive. Of course, the figures are impressive, super impressive. 200 horsepower from a 2-liter petrol engine, and this can only be described as a world-class engine. Seriously, this thing, it moves. It really does. It's properly brisk. And yes, it's going to be a little thirsty, but that thirst does offset with the fact that it is fun for days. Now, I am trying to quantify how I could explain comfort with some strange analogy and the XUV, and what I can think of is food, because obviously I'm a little hungry again. So I'm gonna give you this reference, right? You know those feast bars that you get with the sort of hard chocolate and walnut on top, and then the soft, nice vanilla ice cream on the bottom? That's how this car is. On the outset, when you actually drive it, you have that sense of sportiness, that sense of solidarity, the sense of solidness you get from that chocolate coating up top. And then when you bite in and sort of get into it and sort of sit nicely and relax, you get that nice chunk of vanilla ice cream. It's comfort food, isn't it? There's not a single person that I know that hates vanilla ice cream, and I don't think there's a person that will get into the XUV and say, this isn't a comfortable car. No, the blend that you get in that sort of choco bar with that chocolate on top and vanilla inside is the same blend that Mahindra has done on the XUV. It's nice and chunky, it's nice and crispy up top, it's nice and soft on the inside, it's nice and comfortable. It gives you a nice vibe overall. And even though that's a very weird analogy for explaining how a car's chassis setup is, considering the fact that Mahindra has teamed up with companies like Bilstein and done a lot of work, and ice cream is the best thing that I can think of, because ice creams. Who hates ice cream? It is pretty much the same verdict that I gave when I drove it for the first time then. It looks bloody awesome, it's comfy, it's quick, but it does come at a cost. Both a big cost to actually buy one because this isn't really a cheap car anymore, and then to run one because of course the fuel bills. But if you are okay with both of those, then it is a no-brainer. Actually, to be frank, it is just really a no-brainer overall.